Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking how modern global ports are making a massive, absolutely crucial shift from reactive risk management to total, holistic resiliency in the face of escalating threats. For decades, port security basically meant high fences, guardhouses, and physical patrols. But the very nature of global trade has completely transformed, and so have the threats targeting it.
We are talking about sprawling, hyper-connected ecosystems that handle a staggering 80% of all global trade by volume. From the food in your local grocery store to the raw materials built in your city, it all passes through these terminals. But here's the thing. Their biggest vulnerability today isn't physical. It isn't something a security guard is going to spot on a CCTV camera. It is entirely invisible, living deep within the networks that orchestrate this massive global ballet of metal and cargo.
$3.2 million. Let that sink in for a second. That was the average cyber ransom demand in the maritime sector in 2023. It's a harsh reality that completely shatters the illusion that physical concrete docks are somehow safe from digital threats. And honestly, the total cost of an incident can be much higher than that, with average incident costs jumping threefold in just a single year. The threat landscape is changing way faster than many ports can even adapt.
So here is our roadmap for This Explainer. We're going to cover 1. The new digital gateways, 2. Anatomy of a disruption, 3. The twin threats, 4. The global resilience gap, 5. The resilience playbook, and 6. Securing our global future. Let's just dive right in.
Starting off with Section 1, the new digital gateways, or the invisible OS.
We have moved so far away from analog ledgers and manual clipboards. Today, we're living in the era of Smart Ports 4.0, which heavily rely on the Internet of Things, real-time data exchange, and these incredibly complex digital platforms linking customs, shipping lines, and logistics providers. And we really need to highlight the contrast between IT and OT here, because this is where the modern port vulnerability truly lies. IT, or information technology, handles the data, the financial transactions, the emails. OT, operational technology, controls the heavy machinery, the massive physical cranes, automated guided vehicles, the temperature controls on refrigerated containers. Historically, these were completely separate worlds, but today, they're merged for efficiency. And because they've merged, a digital virus accidentally opened in the admin office can literally leap across the network and physically paralyze a massive robotic crane in its tracks.
Moving to Section 2, Anatomy of a Disruption, Real-World Chaos.
These vulnerabilities are not just theoretical boardroom worries, right? This is actual, massive, economic gridlock happening right now. When a port's digital systems go down, ships drop anchor and wait, trucks line up for miles, and critical goods expire or just never arrive. And the escalation is wild. Back in 2017, the NotPetya malware hit the global shipping giant Maersk, disabling IT systems worldwide and causing direct losses of over $300 million. Fast forward to 2021, a cyber incident in South Africa forced ports like Cape Town to declare force majeure, completely halting regional supply chains. In 2023, the port of Nagoya in Japan, which is a vital hub for automotive manufacturing, suffered a Lockbit 3.0 ransomware attack that shut down container operations, completely crippling their just-in-time supply chains. And just recently, in 2024, Seattle suffered a ransomware disruption costing an estimated $10 million. The pace and the severity are absolutely increasing.
So how are these advanced hackers actually getting in? Well, it's actually remarkably simple. Behind these massive attacks, human error remains a critical entry point. In fact, industry studies found that an astonishing 92% of surveyed maritime crew members open malicious phishing emails. Over 90%. All it takes is one exhausted employee clicking a fake invoice attachment, and boom, attackers have their foothold in that highly sensitive IT to OT bridge we were just talking about.
Which brings us to Section 3, the twin threats, digital and physical.
We really need to talk about holistic resilience, because stopping hackers, that's really only half the battle for a modern port. Ports face this fascinating and honestly terrifying dual reality. On one hand, they've got to defend against digital ransomware exploiting legacy systems. But on the other, they are physical infrastructure built right on coastlines, putting them directly in the crosshairs of extreme weather, sea level rise, and geohazards like earthquakes and tsunamis. And, as we all witnessed recently, they also have to be resilient against long-term public health crises that strip away the human workforce. A truly smart port doesn't just build a digital firewall and call it a day. It uses a comprehensive defense strategy. We're talking seismic designs, nature-based engineering to prevent flooding, and ultra-resilient IT networks to ensure total operational continuity no matter what happens.
All right, Section 4, the global resilience gap, the weakest link.
Now, we have to look at the glaring disparity in preparedness around the world because a global supply chain is truly only as strong as its weakest link. A highly secured port in Europe or North America is still fundamentally dependent on the security of its partner ports in developing nations, and the data starkly visualizes this divide. In high-income port ecosystems, 84% have formal cybersecurity policies and nearly 60% perform regular response drills. But when you look at low- and middle-income countries, less than half have formal policies, and a staggering 87% haven't performed response drills in the past 5 years. That leaves massive, gaping vulnerabilities in our shared global networks. So, why does this matter to us? Spillover effects. When a low-income port that lacks the budget for security software or staff training gets hit with ransomware, it doesn't just hurt that local economy. The digital disruption propagates outward. Ships back up, cargo routes get diverted, and the tightly coupled global supply chain just grinds to a halt. A vulnerability in one hemisphere can literally cause inflation, empty shelves, and factory shutdowns in the other. It's all connected.
Section 5. The Resilience Playbook. Building the Defense.
Okay, we know the risks, we see the gaps, so let's lay out exactly how the maritime industry can build this necessary holistic resilience. It requires a total shift from being reactive, waiting for an attack to fix a problem, to being proactive. To survive modern threats, ports need to adopt this 5-pillar lifecycle approach. First, system planning, using data and cost-benefit analysis to actually plan investments. Second, resilient engineering, integrating things like nature-based solutions to protect physical assets from climate threats while locking down digital ones. Third, operations, utilizing secure IoT and drone monitoring for real-time management. Fourth, contingency planning, setting up backup communication systems so a port is never completely isolated. And fifth, institutional capacity, forming cross-departmental task forces so that your meteorologists, IT experts, and dock workers are all speaking the exact same language during a crisis.
In practice, overcoming these barriers requires some incredibly strict, actionable daily habits. Ports have to maintain live, updated inventories of both IT and OT assets, because frankly, you can't protect what you don't even know you have. They need to conduct regular vulnerability scans, and they have to validate their continuity plans with high-pressure tabletop drills. Financially, they need to use ROSI, Return on Security Investment, to prove to their board members that spending a little money on cybersecurity now averts catastrophic financial loss down the line. And finally, they must join cyber resilience centers. We have to break down these information silos and share threat intelligence so that an attack on one port acts as an immediate vaccine for all the others. No port should be fighting this alone.
Finally, Section 6, Securing Our Global Future, Unlocking Safe Operations.
Addressing these policy, practice, and capacity constraints isn't just about stopping the bad guys. It fundamentally transforms global trade into something far more robust. The ultimate vision here is a massive shift from vulnerable, fragmented legacy systems to a coordinated, hyper-secure ecosystem. By proactively locking down policies, mandating incident reporting, and sharing intelligence across borders, we aren't just playing defense anymore. We unlock safer, highly efficient, and incredibly future-proof port operations. Cybersecurity stops being this burdensome cost and actually becomes a decisive competitive advantage in the global market. I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder. We are operating in a hyper-connected global economy where a digital glitch in one time zone causes a physical traffic jam in another. As long as a massive readiness gap exists between high-income and developing ports around the world, can we ever truly say our global supply chain is secure? Until we start treating cyber resilience as a shared global public good, the answer will always be no. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the invisible systems that run our world.